At 88 years old, Robert Redford stunned the world with a confession that revealed his most private truths, especially about his lifelong bond with Jane Fonda. Born Charles Robert Redford, Jr., on August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California. He grew up far from the glitter of Hollywood. Raised in a working-class family, Redford learned resilience early. His mother died when he was just 18, a loss that shaped his outlook and gave him the empathy and determination that later defined both his career and activism. At first, Redford's path was uncertain. He attended the University of Colorado on a baseball scholarship, but after losing it because of alcohol and poor academics, he felt adrift. Seeking answers, he traveled across Europe, where art and culture awakened something in him. His love for painting eventually brought him to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City, where his striking looks and natural presence soon drew the attention of casting directors. By the late 1950s, he was appearing on the television and Broadway, laying the groundwork for a career that would soon take flight. Redford's rise to fame began in the 1960s with roles that showed both charm and depth. He lit up the screen in Barefoot in the Park 1967 and reached stardom with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid 1969, where his partnership with Paul Newman became iconic. Handsome, witty, and rebellious, Redford embodied the perfect American leading man. The early 1970s brought more success. Jeremiah Johnson, 1972. The Candidate, 1972, and The Way We Were, 1973, proved he could handle both box office hits and emotionally rich dramas. Then came The Sting, 1973 again with Newman, which won multiple Academy Awards and cemented Redford as a Hollywood legend. He didn't limit himself to commercial roles. In All the President's Men, 1976, he portrayed journalist Bob Woodward chronicling the Watergate scandal. The film confirmed his dedication to projects with political and social weight, aligning with his real-life passion for truth and justice. Redford's talents extended well beyond acting. His directorial debut, Ordinary People, 1980, earned him the Academy Award for Best Director. Sensitive and human, the film proved his artistry wasn't confined to being in front of the camera. He followed with A River Runs Through It, 1992, Quiz Show, 1994, and The Horse Whisperer, 1998, each blending compelling storytelling with social and emotional depth. Champion of independent film and the environment in 1978, he founded the Sundance Institute, which grew into the world-famous Sundance Film Festival. Through it, Redford gave a platform to countless young filmmakers, reshaping the future of independent cinema. Just as important was his environmental work. For decades, he advocated for conservation, sustainability, and climate awareness, becoming one of Hollywood's most dedicated voices for the planet. Robert Redford's personal life was marked by two defining marriages. His first to historian and activist Lola Van Wagenaar began in 1958. Together, they raised 4 children, Scott, Shauna, David, and Amy, their first child. Scott tragically died in infancy, a heartbreak that stayed with them forever. Their marriage lasted until 1985, and though fame and personal differences eventually pulled them apart, their nearly 3 decades together reflected deep partnership and growth. Years later, Redford found love with Sybil Sagers, a German-born multimedia artist whose work blended painting, performance, and environmental themes. After many years together, they married in 2009 in Hamburg, Germany. Sagers brought Redford balance, renewal, and companionship in his later years. Their shared passion for art and nature bonded them personally and creatively. Before his passing, Robert Redford gave one of his most candid interviews, and in it he revealed surprising truths about his lifelong connection with Jane Fonda. They first teamed up in Barefoot in the Park, 1967. Redford later admitted, "I was nervous working with Jane. Her energy could light up a room, and I wasn't sure I could keep up." For a man often seen as unshakably confident, this was a rare glimpse of vulnerability and admiration. Over the years, they reunited in The Chase, 1966, The Electric Horseman, 1979, and finally Our Souls at Night, 2017. About that last film, Redford explained, I wanted our final project to be about love, aging, and the beauty of companionship. I knew it would likely be the last time we worked together, and I wanted it to matter. But the most shocking revelation wasn't about their films. It was about his feelings. He admitted, I've loved Jane in my own way all these years. Not in the traditional romantic sense, but as a soulful bond that never faded. She inspired me, challenged me, and sometimes even scared me with her strength. Redford also spoke of the unseen struggles both endured that Jane carried the weight of being Henry Fonda's daughter while carving her own identity. I was grieving the loss of my son, dealing with fame, and trying to guard my private life. When we worked together, those burdens felt a little lighter. Perhaps his most moving words were these. She was more than a co-star. She was a mirror, showing me parts of myself I didn't always want to see, but needed to. Without her, my life and career would not have been the same. On September 16, 2025, Robert Redford passed away peacefully in his sleep at his beloved home in Sundance, Utah. He was 89 years old. Surrounded by the mountains he cherished, he left the world in the place where he had built the Sundance Institute into a sanctuary for independent film. The news of his death shook Hollywood and beyond. Tributes poured in from actors, directors, political leaders, and environmental activists. Fans remembered not just an actor or director, but a man who had embodied integrity, freedom, and justice. Among the most touching tributes came from Jane Fonda, his frequent co-star and dear friend. She wrote, "He meant a lot to me and was a beautiful person in every way. He stood for an America that we have to keep fighting for." Her words summed up what Robert Redford represented, a vision of America tied to fairness, independence, and authenticity. His passing marked the end of an era, but his legacy lives on in his films, in the voices he championed, and in the causes he defended with unwavering conviction.